Hey, today's video lesson is on measures essential tendency. And measures essential tendency is just a fancy way of saying, hey, we need to find the middle of our data. So three ways we find the middle of our data is by using the mode, the median, and the mean. So we're going to take a look at each one of these as examples. So the mode is the number that occurs the most in the data. So here's my data set. These are all the numbers that are in my data, so we call that a data set. And we're going to find the number that occurs the most in this data set. And if you look through it, you'll notice that the 5 actually occurred 3 times. And that occurs more than any other number in the data set. So that's what makes the 5 my mode. So for this particular data set, 5 is my mode. In my next set of data here, I can see that I have 3 5s, but I also have 3 9s in my data set. So the 5 and the 9 occur more than any other numbers in the data set. So for this particular set of data, my modes, there's actually 2 of them, are going to be 5 and 9. Okay? In this particular data set, none of the numbers occur more than once, so they all occur the same amount. So in this particular example, we're going to have no mode. Now don't make the mistake and say the mode is 0, because then you're saying that 0 occurred the most in the data set, and there are no zeros here. So don't make that mistake, because that's kind of a common mistake people make in the beginning when dealing with the mode. So if all the numbers occur only one time at exactly the same amount, then that means there is no mode in your data. The median is the number that's in the middle after you've put the numbers in order from least to greatest. So if you look at my data set here, the numbers are not in order from least to greatest. So that's the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just kind of organize my data so that I'm going from least to greatest. So I know these numbers are going to come towards the end. 7, 8, 9. Put the 2's over there. 3. Probably need to get them a little closer together since I have so many. So I'll move these over. Got a bunch of 5's here. Throw those in there. Then I got my 7, 8's. And then I got some 9's here on the end. And then just kind of double check to make sure that they're all in order from least to greatest. 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. Okay, and then now you just need to find the middle of your data, and I'm going to think, what I do is I just kind of start with a number and go, oh, I think this is in the middle. If it's in the middle, it should have the same amount of numbers to the right and to the left. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the right, and I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the left. So this 5 must be in the middle of my data, so that means my median is going to be 5. Okay, so remember, just put them in order from least to greatest and then find the one number that's in the middle. Sometimes there'll be 2 numbers in the middle. For example, if I put these numbers in order from least to greatest, 7, 8, 12, so I got a 9 here, and then I got my 15's on the end. And so now I'm kind of looking at, oh, maybe this is in the middle. Well, I got 1, 2 on the right, but then I have 1, 2, 3 on the left. So there isn't just one number in the middle for this particular set. So when this happens, and this usually happens when you have an even amount of data, so I have 6 numbers here, that means you're going to have 2 numbers in the middle. So that means there's a 9 and a 12 in this particular data set that are in the middle. And that means I have 2 numbers to the to the right, and I have 2 numbers to the left. So you're not allowed, it's not like the mode. The mode you're allowed to have 2 numbers for your answer, but with the median you're only allowed to have 1 number. So if you have 2 numbers that are in the middle, what you're supposed to do is you have to add these together and then divide by 2. So we're going to do 9 plus 12, and that gives us 21. And then we're going to divide by 2. And 2 goes into 21, or 2 goes into 2 one time. Take away, bring down. 2 can't go into 1, so that's going to be 0. Then I'm going to bring that decimal that's invisible behind the 1 straight up, and then I can add another 0. And 2 goes into 10 5 times. So 10.5 is going to be my median. That's the one number. And basically what you're doing is you're finding out what's the halfway point between 9 and 12. And that would be 10 and a half, or 10.5. So that would be your median. So remember, whenever you have 2 numbers in the middle, you have to add them together and divide by 2 in order to find the one median. Now the mean is also known as the average. So when you hear the word average, it's the same thing as mean. When you hear mean, it's the same thing as average. And we find the mean by taking all the numbers in our data set and adding them together and then dividing by how many numbers that were in our data set. So let's go ahead and do that. If I add all these numbers together, 7 plus 2 plus 9 and all the way through the last number, I would add all those numbers together, and when I do, I would actually get 59. So I already worked that out ahead of time, but you could add them if you like. So all those numbers together add up to 59. Now, how many numbers are there in this data set? Well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 11 numbers in my data set. So now, to remember, to find the mean, we have to take the total of all those numbers that we added together and divide it by how many numbers there were. So that's a division problem. So if we take 59, which is our total when we added all those numbers together, and we divide it by 11, which is how many numbers are in our data set, that'll tell us what our mean or average is. So 11 can't go into 5, but 11 can go into 59 5 times. 5 times 11 is 55. Take away and bring down, but there's nothing to bring down, so I have to add this decimal that's behind the 9 straight up. Bring it straight up and then bring down a 0. 11 goes into 40 3 times. Bring down a 0. 11 goes into 70 6 times. Bring down a 0. 11 goes into 40 3 times. And then we're going to start having a repeat of this 3, 6, 3, 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have a repeating bar over the 3 and the 6. And so my mean is going to be 5.36 repeating.